Welcome to the Privacy Report. We're the show that digs into digital security and, well, resilience. If you handle data, and I mean, pretty much everyone listening does, it's constantly under threat. We're dealing with aggressive ransomware, huge reliance on the cloud, and just a sheer volume of data that makes keeping it safe a real challenge.
That really is the core issue. For years, backups were seen as this basic insurance. Copy the files, put them somewhere else, hope they work if things go bad.
Right, like a fire extinguisher in a dusty corner.
Exactly. But the landscape has totally shifted. Those old methods, they're just not enough anymore, frankly. They're dangerous. We have to think beyond static archives. Data integrity needs to be treated like a living thing.
And if you want a quick rundown of the key points we cover here, remember you can subscribe to our email newsletter. It's at theprivacyreport.net. We try to boil these big topics down each week.
Good point. So today what we're really diving into are the three big trends that are, well, fundamentally changing data resilience. We're talking about AI getting deeply involved, automation becoming standard practice, and maybe the most important defense now, the comeback of data immutability.
Okay, let's unpack that first part, moving from just making copies to proactive defense. The old way was simple duplication, right? Put it on tape, stick it on a disk somewhere.
Yeah, but modern ransomware isn't just hitting your main system. It actively hunts for backups. It looks for those shadow copies, things you might use for a quick restore, and wipes them out to make sure you can't recover easily.
So the backup itself becomes a target.
Precisely. That's why data integrity has to be this, active process. It needs to constantly check itself, defend itself. And this is where AI comes in this new generation of backup tools. AI isn't just sorting files anymore. It's trying to predict failures and, maybe more importantly, spot corruption before a person even notices something's wrong.
That's interesting. How does it actually spot something like ransomware, especially if it's a new variant? It's not just looking for known virus signatures, is it?
No, not at all. It's a totally different approach. It focuses on behavior, not signatures. Machine learning models learn what normal looks like for your files. Metadata changes, how often files are accessed or written to, even the randomness, the entropy of data being written.
Okay.
So if the AI suddenly sees like a whole bunch of files being encrypted all at once or critical recovery files disappearing really fast, that's a huge red flag. That smells like ransomware or maybe an insider threat.
And it acts automatically.
Yes, it doesn't wait for approval.
Yeah.
It can trigger a restore from the last known clean version or wall off the affected data immediately. It's trying to get ahead of the attack, be predictive, not just reactive.
That sounds incredibly powerful. Also sounds complicated, maybe expensive. Is this just for big companies right now?
Well, the cost is definitely coming down, especially as the cloud providers integrate these kinds of features.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a complexity trade-off for sure. But you have to weigh that against the cost of actually getting hit by ransomware and having no way back.
Yeah.
That cost is astronomical. So you're investing in time and precision. And speaking of precision, that flows right into the second big trend, automation.
Right. Automation's taken backups from that job. Nobody wanted, this Sunday morning tape swap to something that just happens constantly in the background.
It's really become the default expectation now. And a key part of this is something called continuous data protection, or CDP. CDP basically means the system is taking snapshots almost in real time. Every change gets captured.
So very granular recovery points.
Extremely. But the real workhorse here are the orchestration tools. They handle the messy parts, sending copies off-site, automatically testing if the backups actually work for a restore, managing how long data is kept, all without someone clicking buttons.
Okay, but let's connect that to privacy. We're handing over this critical function to automated systems. Does that introduce new risks? Less human error, maybe? But what about transparency? Do we lose control?
That's a fair question. The risk of opacity is real, but the huge benefit is consistency. Automated workflows enforce the rules every single time. They make sure everything gets encrypted to the right standard, no one forgets to tick a box. They enforce data retention policies, which are often legal requirements anyway. So automation drastically cuts down the chances of human error, simple mistakes or oversights leading to a data exposure.
That makes sense. Reliable code versus unreliable memory.
Mm.
Okay, so let's shift to the third trend. You mentioned immutability. This sounds almost retro.
It kind of is. It's based on a really old concept in computing, right? Once read many, worm technology. But it's been updated and is incredibly powerful against modern threats.
So what does immutability actually mean today? How does it work, especially in cloud environments?
Simply put, immutability means once your backup data is written, it's locked. It literally cannot be changed or deleted for a specific time period you set. In the cloud, This is often done using object locking. The storage platform itself, like Amazon S3, for example, enforces this lock. It's not just a permission setting an admin can change, it's built into the storage infrastructure.
But wait, if the AI we talked about is supposed to detect attacks, why do we need this seemingly brute force lock? Shouldn't detection be enough?
Because immutability protects against the ultimate nightmare scenario.
Hmm.
Your admin account's getting compromised. If an attacker gets those credentials, what do? They try to delete your backups first, then encrypt your live data. Immutability stops that first step cold.
Ah,
The system will just refuse the delete command because of that object lock. The attackers literally cannot erase the backup history. That guarantees you have a clean, untouchable copy to restore from no matter what.
that feels huge. Not just for recovery, but for things like compliance too, right? Knowing you have that guaranteed, unaltered copy.
Absolutely massive. It's the ultimate safety net. Doesn't matter if it's a fancy on-premise warm appliance or cloud object storage. The result is a backup, is clean.
Okay, this all sounds promising. AI detection, automated processes, immutable storage. But it leads to a big question, doesn't it? Trust. How do we trust these increasingly complex autonomous systems?
That's exactly the challenge. The tech gets smarter, but resilience still hinges on the user, on you having control and visibility. So there are some essentials we need. We need verifiable encryption from end to end. Critically, user-controlled encryption keys. The provider shouldn't be the only one holding the keys to your kingdom.
Right.
And we also need transparency in how restores happen. If the system automatically quarantines data or even deletes something, you need a clear audit trail. You need to know why.
And I suppose as vendors keep adding more smart features, slapping AI onto everything, we need to be wary of black boxes, right?
Well,
Algorithms making decisions we don't understand.
that's the cautionary note, definitely. These AI models learn from your data, your environment. While they're deciding what's suspicious or when to restore, that logic can't be hidden. There's a potential risk, however small, that these models could inadvertently learn or leak sensitive metadata, maybe about your busy periods, or internal file structures. If you can't see the logic, you can't be sure it's not creating a new kind of vulnerability. Oversight is key.
So boiling this down for everyone listening, what's the takeaway? AI and automation are great, but they're not magic bullets.
Exactly. They're powerful tools, fantastic assists, but they can't be your only line of defense. If you're building a strategy maybe for yourself or a small team, think in layers. 3 key steps. First, automate your backups. Make them frequent, make them reliable. Second, make absolutely sure at least one copy of your essential data is stored immutably. Somewhere it cannot be touched or deleted, even by you for a set time.
Or by an attacker using your credentials.
Precisely. And third, this is crucial, test your restores regularly. Don't just assume the backup works. You have to actually try restoring data to know your system is ready for that worst case day. Treat it like a fire drill.
That's a solid, practical plan. And it leaves us with a final thought, something to chew on. If automation really does get good enough to eliminate most human errors in managing backups, no more missed schedules, no accidental deletions, does that mean the ultimate weak point becomes the encryption keys themselves? Does key management become the absolute cornerstone of data privacy and security going forward?
Something to think about as our backup systems potentially get smarter than we are.
Indeed. Well, thank you for tuning in to the Privacy Report. If this conversation was helpful, please do like and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it. And we'll be back soon with more on digital resilience.
And just a standard disclosure, this discussion was created with the assistance of AI.